Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us.
It's great to be back.
So today we're diving into something that might seem a little old school
Yeah.
in our AI-powered world.
Okay.
We're talking tech resumes.
All right.
So whether you are, actively on the job hunt or
Mhm.
just curious about industry standards or
Mhm.
maybe even a little terrified of
Uh-huh.
applicant tracking systems,
Yeah.
this deep dive is for you.
Okay.
Our source material today is crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs, a comprehensive guide.
Ooh.
Let's jump right in.
Sounds good. It's funny. We're using an AI platform to learn about
Right,
resumes,
exactly.
but that kind of highlights how important it is
Yeah.
to stand out as a human being.
Right.
And this guide really drives that point home.
Totally. It is kind of like,
Ah.
algorithms can scan for keywords, but your resume is your chance to really show
Yeah.
that you're not just a collection of buzzwords.
Mhm.
It's really your first impression.
Right.
It's your way to connect with an actual
Real person.
human on the other side.
It's like the difference between code that just works
Right.
and code that's elegant
Yeah.
and well commented
Yeah.
and shows a real understanding of the craft.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about your resume that way?
Oh,
Like a piece of code
okay.
representing you?
Mind blown. So if the ATS is like a compiler,
Uh-huh.
we need to make sure our code is clean and efficient.
Exactly.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
the guide breaks down all of the essential elements.
Okay.
We've got contact info,
Uh-huh.
summary or objective,
Right.
technical skills, work experience, education, and then those extra things like projects or certifications.
Mm.
What's really interesting, though, is how each section needs to be
Right.
approached strategically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, for instance,
Yeah.
listing every
Yeah.
tech skill under the sun
Right.
isn't really helpful.
Right.
It's about demonstrating proficiency.
Okay.
Are you a Python wizard?
Yeah.
Have you built complex apps with React or
Right.
just kind of tinkered with a tutorial?
Right.
Yeah. Categorizing and being really specific about your experience
Right.
is key.
Okay, so instead of a laundry list of buzzwords, it's more like,
Uh-huh.
imagine those fancy spice racks
Right.
where everything's all labeled and organized.
Yeah.
The hiring manager can immediately find the flavor that
Yeah.
they're looking for.
I like that.
And then when you get to the work experience section,
Okay.
think impact,
Oh.
not just tasks.
Got it.
The guide highlights the PAR method.
Oh, the PI method.
Problem, action, result. Okay.
For crafting those bullet points.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
It's about telling a mini story,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, I saw this problem,
Uh-huh.
I took these steps,
Yeah.
and here's the awesome outcome
Exactly.
because of my mad skills.
Instead of just saying manage the social media accounts,
Right.
you could say identified a drop in engagement.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Implemented a new content strategy.
Okay.
Focused on user-generated content.
Mhm.
That's the action.
Yeah.
Resulting in a 20% increase in followers and a 15% boost in click-through rates.
Okay.
That's the result.
Okay, that's way more compelling.
Right.
But even with a killer structure and
Yeah.
the PAR method,
Yeah.
how do we avoid getting lost
Yeah.
in the resume black hole?
That's where tailoring comes in.
Yeah.
And the guide is very clear.
Right. Yeah. Those generic ones.
One size does not fit all.
It all kind of blend together.
Think about it.
Right.
If you received a generic cover letter,
Yeah.
it wouldn't feel very
Yeah.
personal.
Right. It's like sending a mass email
Right.
versus
And goes for resumes.
a handwritten note.
Yeah.
Tailoring shows that you're genuinely interested
Mm-hmm.
and that you've done your research.
Exactly. Analyze the job description
Right.
like it's a treasure map.
Yeah.
What keywords are they using?
Okay.
What problems are they trying to solve?
Yeah.
And then highlight the experiences and achievements on your resume
Okay.
that directly address those needs.
So it's not just about listing the skills. It's about showing how those skills have been used in a way that's relevant to them.
Precisely.
Okay.
Your resume becomes a marketing document,
Okay.
selling your unique brand
Right.
of tech talent
Mm-hmm.
to a specific audience.
I like that.
And when it comes to tech,
Yeah.
showcasing your skills goes
yeah.
beyond the traditional resume.
This is where things get interesting.
Right.
The guide talks about
GitHub profiles,
Mhm.
personal projects,
Mhm.
contributions to open source. It's like your resume is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's about building a comprehensive
Right.
online presence
Okay.
that backs up your claims.
Yeah.
Imagine a hiring manager clicking on your GitHub profile
Right.
and seeing Not just a list of languages,
Yeah.
but actual projects
Yeah.
that demonstrate your coding style,
Right.
problem-solving abilities,
Mhm.
and even your collaborative
Right.
skills.
It's like, here's the menu, but now let me show you
Uh,
what our chefs can really do.
exactly.
The guide actually mentions that contributing to open source projects
Yeah,
is a great way to show you can collaborate
right.
and understand large code bases.
Absolutely. It's a testament to your dedication
Okay.
and your ability to work in real-world development environments.
Yeah.
But even the most impressive portfolio
Right.
won't stay relevant.
Right.
If you're not constantly learning.
Becoming outdated.
Right.
The guide emphasizes the
Uh,
importance of continuous learning,
yes.
especially in tech.
It's like that dreaded
Right.
software update notification,
Uh-huh.
but for our brains.
But for our brains.
We got to keep those skills sharp,
You gotta stay sharp.
or we risk becoming obsolete.
Yeah, a little dramatic.
Okay, that's a scary thought.
But you get the point.
Okay, I get it.
The guide suggests
Yeah.
online courses,
Mm-hmm.
coding boot camps,
Right.
tech conferences,
Okay.
even side projects,
Yeah.
and wait for it, podcasts.
Of course.
It's about
It's like,
staying curious
yeah.
and viewing learning as an investment,
Okay.
not a chore.
So even though we're deep diving into
Oh,
this
yeah.
crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs
Yeah.
guide, it's actually about so much more than the resume itself, right?
Yeah.
It's about a mindset.
It's about an approach to your career.
You know,
A way of exactly. It's about constantly evolving,
Yeah.
honing your craft,
yeah.
and showcasing your passion
Mm-hmm.
for the ever-changing world of technology.
I like that.
But before we move on to those
Right.
tricky situations like career changes
Mhm.
or gaps in employment,
Cliffhanger.
let's pause for a second and consider.
Okay, everyone, hold that thought while we take a quick break. We'll be right back with more insights from crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs.
All right, so, I think a lot of people listening might be in those situations, career changes,
Right.
gaps in employment,
Right.
and wondering how this perfect resume advice
Yeah.
applies to them.
Right.
What does the guide say about that?
Okay, so for new grads or career changers,
Yeah.
it's all about transferable skills.
Okay.
So did you manage projects in a previous role?
Mhm.
Were you the go-to person for troubleshooting tech issues, even if it wasn't your official title?
Right.
That all counts.
It's about connecting the dots for the hiring manager.
Right.
Instead of focusing on what your job title was,
Yeah.
highlight the skills you used that are relevant
Right.
to this tech role you're after.
Okay.
The guide also stresses the importance of showcasing your passion for tech,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have years of formal experience.
So coding boot camps,
Yeah.
personal projects,
Uh-huh.
even that time you built a website for your friend's bakery,
Right.
that all goes on the resume.
Just shows that you're not just interested in tech.
Right.
You're actively pursuing it.
Right. You're proving it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for those with tons of experience,
Okay.
the guide suggests focusing on the most recent and relevant roles,
Okay.
summarizing earlier jobs concisely,
Okay.
and highlighting career progression
Got it.
and increasing responsibilities.
So don't just dump your entire work history onto the page.
Right.
It's more like, here's the story
Right.
of how I became awesome at what I do.
I love that.
Right.
You're telling a story,
Yeah.
not just listing facts.
Okay, I like that.
And when it comes to employment gaps,
Okay.
the guide emphasizes honesty and transparency.
Okay.
Explain the gap briefly.
Okay.
Maybe mention relevant activities you did during that time, freelance, work,
Yeah.
personal project,
Like volunteering.
volunteering,
Yeah.
and focus on the skills and value you can bring now.
Okay, so turn potential weaknesses
Right.
into strengths.
Exactly.
Instead of trying to hide the gap,
Right.
you're saying, hey, I took some time to focus on X, and here's how it made me even better.
It shows self-awareness
Okay.
and a commitment to growth,
Yeah.
which are valuable qualities in any field,
Right.
especially tech.
Especially tech.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
let's revisit that technical skills section
Yeah.
for a moment.
All right.
The guide has some really insightful tips
Yeah.
on making this section stand out. This is where it gets tricky, right?
No.
With so many languages and frameworks
Uh-huh.
popping up all the time,
All the time.
how do you even decide what to list?
That's where categorization
Okay.
and indicating proficiency levels come in.
Okay.
Instead of a giant list,
Right.
group your skills.
Yeah.
languages,
Yeah.
frameworks,
Right.
databases,
Right.
cloud technologies,
Yep,
etc.
got it.
Then show how comfortable you are with each one.
Right.
Are you an expert in JavaScript,
Mm-hmm.
proficient in Python,
Yeah.
or just getting started with Go?
Okay.
Be honest and specific.
Okay, so it's like those skill bars
Right, yeah.
you see on LinkedIn profiles,
Uh-huh.
but on your actual resume.
Exactly.
You're giving the hiring manager a visual snapshot of your tech toolbox.
And speaking of visuals,
Okay.
remember that applicant tracking systems
Yes.
often scan resumes for keywords.
Right.
Make sure your technical skills section is both human readable
Mm-hmm.
and optimized for those systems.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act.
Okay. So we've got our skills categorized.
Right.
Our experience laid out with the PA method.
Right.
But I feel like there's still something missing.
Okay.
How do we make those bullet points truly pop?
You're talking about the art.
Yeah.
Try to make them stand out
Of writing impactful bullet points.
from the sea of other resumes.
The guide has some great advice on this.
Okay.
It's about using strong action verbs
Okay.
and quantifying your achievements
Right.
whenever possible.
Give me an example.
Instead of saying responsible for website maintenance,
Right.
you might say led the website redesign project,
Okay.
resulting in a 30% increase in user engagement
Okay.
and a 15% reduction in bounce rate.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay. That's a huge difference.
Right.
It's specific. It shows action
Mm-hmm.
and it highlights the impact of your work
Right.
and those numbers.
Yeah.
That's what really catches the eye. Numbers speak louder than words,
Right.
especially on a tech resume.
Okay.
Quantify your accomplishments whenever possible.
Got it.
Did you increase efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
reduce costs,
Yeah.
improve performance?
Okay.
Show them the results.
All right. So we've got a killer resume structure.
Okay.
We're using the PAR method.
Uh-huh.
Our technical skills are neatly categorized.
Right.
And our bullet points are packed with action verbs
Yeah.
and quantifiable achievements. What else could we possibly need?
We'll remember that your online presence
Right.
is an extension of your resume.
Okay.
The guide talks a lot about
Okay.
leveraging platforms like LinkedIn
On LinkedIn.
to build a strong professional profile.
That's where you can really let your personality shine through, right?
It's a great platform for that.
It's like your resume is the formal introduction.
Right.
But LinkedIn is where you show off your passion projects,
Mhm.
share articles you've written,
Mm-hmm.
and connect with other tech professionals.
It's about building a comprehensive picture
Right.
of who you are as a tech professional.
Okay.
Start with a professional photo
Got it.
and a compelling headline that captures your current role
Mm-hmm.
and key skills.
Okay.
Craft a detailed summary that highlights your expertise
Okay.
and career goals,
All right.
and make sure the information aligns with your resume.
Okay.
Consistency is key.
So it's like your resume and your LinkedIn profile should be best friends
Right.
telling the same story,
Yeah,
but in slightly different ways.
exactly.
And what about those featured sections on LinkedIn? I've seen people showcasing their projects, presentations,
Mhm.
even code samples there.
That's exactly what you should be doing.
Okay.
Use that space to highlight your best work,
Okay.
demonstrate your skills, and give potential employers a taste of what you can bring to the table.
Right.
Remember, a strong online presence
Yeah.
can make all the difference
Okay.
in today's competitive tech landscape.
Okay, so we've got our resume polished.
All right.
Our LinkedIn profile is sparkling,
Mm-hmm.
but now comes the really scary part,
Oh, boy.
the technical interview.
Yeah.
The guide actually has a whole section on preparing for those.
It's packed with practical advice.
Yep.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
brush up on those fundamental computer science concepts,
Okay.
data structures,
Mm-hmm.
algorithms,
Right.
system design,
Got it.
the building blocks
Yeah.
of any software engineering role.
It's like making sure your foundation is strong
Ex-
before you start building that skyscraper.
and don't just passively review concepts.
Right.
Put your knowledge to the test.
Okay.
Practice coding problems on platforms
Mhm.
like LeetCode,
Okay.
HackerRank,
Yeah.
or AlgoExpert.
It's like training for a marathon.
Right.
You wouldn't show up on race day without putting in the miles.
Exactly.
And just like a runner might practice with a group, the guide suggests doing mock interviews with
Mhm.
friends
Right.
or using online platforms that
Yeah.
offer practice sessions.
It's all about getting comfortable,
Right.
talking about your technical skills and thought processes out loud.
Right. And remember, technical interviews
Yeah.
aren't just about coding.
Right.
Be prepared for behavioral questions, too.
Of course.
Hiring managers want to know how you handle challenges, how you work in teams,
Right.
and how you approach problem solving.
They want to get a sense of who you are as a person.
So it's not just about being a coding whiz.
Right.
It's about showing that you're a well-rounded human
Exactly.
who can collaborate and communicate effectively.
And don't forget to research the company and the role you're applying for. Be prepared to discuss recent developments relevant to the industry
Okay.
and how your skills align with their specific needs.
Right.
It shows you're genuinely interested
Yeah.
and you've done your homework.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From crafting a stellar resume to building a strong online presence and prepping for technical interviews.
Yeah.
We've pretty much tackled the entire tech job search process.
I think so.
But I think one of the most important takeaways from this guide is the emphasis on continuous learning.
Absolutely. In a field as dynamic as tech,
Right.
complacency is the enemy of progress.
Okay.
The guide encourages exploring online courses, attending industry conferences and meetups,
Okay.
even pursuing personal projects
Yeah.
to keep those skills sharp and stay ahead of the curve.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change.
It's so true.
And in tech, that change happens at warp speed.
It does.
But instead of being intimidated by it,
Right.
we can embrace it
Yeah.
as an opportunity to learn, grow,
I like that.
and keep our careers exciting.
That's the spirit.
Right.
And remember, resources like crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs are here to guide us along the way. They provide the tools,
Yeah.
the strategies, and the inspiration to help us navigate the ever-evolving world of tech careers.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's revisit that thought-provoking question
Oh, yes. The question
we posed earlier.
The one that gets us thinking strategically about our resumes.
What one thing
Yes.
will you do differently to make your tech resume truly stand out?
It's a question worth pondering as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Because in a sea of applications,
Right.
it's often those small, thoughtful tweaks that can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
So take a moment to reflect on your unique strengths, experiences, and skills.
Okay.
What can you highlight to make your resume shine? What story do you want to tell?
I like that.
We'll be back in a moment to explore some final thoughts and takeaways from Crafting the Perfect Resume for Tech Jobs, a comprehensive guide. Okay, so we're back. We've unpacked so much advice from crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs, but I think it all comes down to this. What is that one thing you can do
Right.
to make your resume stand out?
It's like that final polish
Right.
on a coding project.
Yeah.
You've got the functionality down,
Right.
but it's the attention to detail, the elegant solutions that really elevate it.
Totally. It's about showcasing that you're not just competent, but that you've got that extra spark, that passion for tech that makes you stand out from the crowd.
And that's where this guide shines.
Yeah.
It reminds us that your resume isn't just a list of skills, it's your story.
Yeah.
It's about connecting the dots
Yeah.
between your experiences and showing how they've led you to this point, ready to tackle new challenges in the tech world.
It's like, hey, hiring manager, look at all this cool stuff I've done. Imagine what I could accomplish with your team.
Exactly.
Right.
And remember, even if your background isn't strictly tech,
Right.
you can still highlight transferable skills.
Totally.
Did you manage projects, analyze data,
Yeah.
troubleshoot problems in a previous role?
Right.
Those are all valuable assets in the tech world.
Okay, so we've got the what?
Yeah.
The skills, the experience,
Right.
but the how is just as important, right?
Well, of course.
How do we actually present this information in a way that's compelling and memorable?
The guide offers some really helpful tips on formatting and visual appeal.
Okay.
Use clear headings, bullet points, white space.
Right.
Make it easy on the eyes.
Yeah. Make it readable.
And don't be afraid to get a little creative, especially if you're applying for a role that values innovation.
Creative resumes. Now we're talking. I've seen some really cool examples online.
Oh, yeah.
Interactive resumes, infographic resumes, even resumes that are built like mini websites.
Of course, you have to be mindful of the company culture and the specific role you're applying for.
Right.
A super edgy design might not be the best fit
Yeah,
for a conservative corporate environment.
I guess so.
But there are always ways to
Okay.
subtly showcase your personality
Right.
and stand out from the stack of traditional resumes.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Mhm.
between professional and memorable.
Exactly.
And what about those little details that often get overlooked?
Yeah.
Grammar, spelling, consistency.
Oh, absolutely. The guide stresses the importance of proofreading meticulously.
Okay.
Typos and grammatical errors can be a major turnoff for hiring managers, especially in tech, where attention to detail is crucial.
It's like that missing semicolon that crashes your entire program.
Yes. One tiny error can have a big impact.
Right.
Treat your resume
Yeah.
like a piece of code you're submitting for review.
Okay.
Make it clean, error-free, and polished to perfection.
Okay. So we've got our content nailed, our design is on point, and our grammar game is strong.
All right.
What final words of wisdom does the guide offer for navigating the tech job search?
Well, it reminds us that the job search itself is a process, and it's rarely a straight line.
Right.
Rejections are part of the journey,
Yeah.
and it's important to stay resilient and keep learning from every experience.
It's like debugging code.
Right.
Sometimes you have to try a bunch of different approaches before you find the solution.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Okay.
Attend industry events, connect with people on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
reach out to mentors or professionals you admire. You never know where those connections might lead.
It's like building a network of support.
Yeah.
A team of people who can help you navigate the challenges and celebrate the successes along the way.
And remember, crafting a standout tech resume is just the first step.
Right.
The real journey begins
Yeah.
when you land that dream job
Yeah.
and start making your mark on the world of technology.
So to all of our listeners out there, whether you are seasoned pros or just starting your tech adventure,
Yeah.
we hope this deep dive has given you the tools and the inspiration to craft a resume that truly reflects your unique skills and passions.
And as you embark on your job search,
Okay.
remember this. Your journey is your own. Embrace your individuality, showcase your strengths, and never stop learning.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into crafting the perfect resume for tech jobs, a comprehensive guide. We'll catch you next time for another exploration into the fascinating world of tech.